Hi everyone, welcome to Things Lucy Reads. I'm Luce. I have an original tag video for you today, so that's quite exciting. Okay, I will put the rules in the description box because I'm not sure how well I'm going to explain it. But this tag is called 5 movies you liked better than their books. And the premise is that you pick 5 movies, or it can be shows or stage presentations, amateur or professional, or like radio plays, just any kind of adaptation of a book that you liked better than the book itself. This is going to be a little bit controversial, but it happens. Sometimes we like the movie better than the book, even though it's sacrilege. My first one is the one that I am most ashamed about, and it is Stardust by Neil Gaiman and the corresponding film. Okay, I saw the film first, which I think influenced my opinion. I did very much like this book, don't get me wrong, I did love it, but the reason I like the movie better is purely because of Captain Shakespeare. He is one of my favourite characters ever. He's fabulous. I love him so much. And I was very disappointed to learn that not only is Captain Shakespeare not in the book, but his corresponding character is nothing at all like Captain Shakespeare. Yeah. There's no Captain Shakespeare in this, but there is in this, so that's why I like this one better. The next one is New Moon by Stephenie Meyer and the movie. Okay. I liked Twilight, the first book, and I think, like The Matrix, it should have been left as a standalone. Its sequels let it down, especially this one. This is 600 or whatever pages of absolutely nothing. Nothing happens. Edward leaves Bella, Bella gets depressed, she's catatonic for months, and then she turns into a daredevil, and they go on rescue Edward from killing himself by getting naked in Italy in front of a crowd of people. That's basically what it's about. Look, I finished this book and I was like, that is time in my life that I'm never going to get back. Nothing happened. Nothing remotely interesting happened on the page. But somehow it corresponded to film really, really well. I think it works much better as a film than as a book because, in the book, it would say that, Bella went to Jacob's and they were fixing the motorbikes or whatever, and they were having these conversations, but in the film, it could be like a montage of them hanging out, and it was, by memory. I haven't watched this in a long time. Anyway, I just think it worked a lot better as a film. It was boring as a book, but not as a film. This is actually my favourite of the 5. As you can see, I liked it enough to buy a copy of it, and I do watch it on occasion. It's basically the only one that I do. I do have a copy of Breaking Dawn Part 2, but that's just because it's got Lee Pace in it. Yeah, so New Moon, that's the second one. The third one is Bridget Jones's Diary by Helen Fielding. Now, I also saw this movie before I read this book. With New Moon, I read the book first, but I saw this movie first. And then I read the book, and I did like it. The only reason that I had issues with this book is because, okay, all of the time at the start of the chapters, Bridget will give like a little update of her life. How much alcohol she's drunk, how many cigarettes she's smoked, and how many calories she's consumed, and how much she weighs. Okay, that's not a problem. That's what the book is about. But most of the time, her weight is somewhere around 128 or 129 pounds. And she always thinks that she's like really, really fat. Okay, I can't remember the exact number. I will convert it and put the right number up on the bottom of the screen. But 129 pounds is something like 67 kilos. That is not fat by any stretch of the imagination. And by Bridget saying that she was fat at 129 pounds really affected me because it felt like, and this is totally irrational, it's ridiculous how irrational it is, but it made me feel like she was calling me fat because at the time when I was reading this, and now, I weigh 78 kilos. So I was 14 kilos heavier than her, and if she was fat, I must have been a house, you know? And that was the only issue I had with it, because she wasn't fat. That's actually really skinny, and just a disclaimer, I haven't watched this in a long time, so I can't remember if the film is like this, but I think in the film her weight is a little bit more. It's not 129 pounds, it's like 150 or something. I think, I don't know, I don't remember, I need to watch it again. But I liked the movie better because it wasn't in my face all the time. There was, you know, occasionally we would, you know, have updates on how much she weighed, but it wasn't there at the beginning of every chapter like it was in the book. And so I didn't have to think about it as much with this movie, and I didn't notice it as much. It's probably there the same amount, but I just didn't notice because I didn't see the words written down. So yeah, I mean, this book is still very good, and it's really funny, and I liked it. I couldn't get past the fact that Bridget weighed less than me, and she was calling herself fat, and I was having self-esteem issues when I read it, and yeah, it just really kind of affected me because of that. So yeah. Now the next one, you're all going to judge me for, and I don't actually have a copy of the book or the movie. I did have a copy of the book, but I sold it because I was never going to read it again. That is The Perks of Being a Wallflower. Okay, I liked this book. It was okay. I didn't really like it, but you know, I didn't hate it. It was okay. I can understand why a lot of people would love it. I just wasn't one of them. Where do I start? Okay. I couldn't relate at all to Charlie. Our situations are totally different. He is, you know, a teenage boy growing up in America with, you know, trauma in his past. I am a 20-year-old girl living in Australia with no trauma. We're as removed from each other as can be. And I hated that the book was written in first person, because Charlie annoyed me, and I hated having to be in his head all the time, because I just thought that he made really stupid choices, and I could sort of understand, but then I sort of couldn't understand. And I thought the end bit, no spoilers, but the end bit with like his Aunt Helen, that seemed really, really sudden, and maybe I wasn't paying enough attention, or I just didn't notice that there was a lead up, or maybe there was hardly any lead up to that at all. But when I read that, it was just kind of like being slapped in the face with a wet fish. I was like, what is going on? You know, I think I would have liked the book a lot better, and it's the reason that I like the movie. I would have liked it better if it had been told in third person, because Charlie was annoying. He reminded me of people that I know in real life who annoy me, which is why he annoyed me. And the only reason I finished reading it, was because I wanted to find out what happened to Sam and Patrick. That's the only reason. And that's why I liked the movie a lot more, because I didn't have to be in Charlie's head all the time. And there was little bits of narration from memory. I've only watched it once. But it wasn't sort of all of his thoughts about everything all the time. And I could experience the story without experiencing it through Charlie's eyes. And I think that worked a lot better for me, because I couldn't sympathize with Charlie. I mean, I could sympathize, but I couldn't relate, and I just had issues, you know? Sometimes you just hate the protagonist for no good reason, and that happened, and I'm really sad, because a lot of people love that book, but I just couldn't. But I did really love the movie, so yeah. Okay, fifth one. This is cheating a little bit, but it's my tag, so I make the rules. The book I've got is Emma by Jane Austen, but the movie, actually no, I'll hold it in this hand because this is a 2-pack and I need to cover up half of the thing. Okay, so the book is Emma by Jane Austen. The movie is Clueless. For those of you who don't know, Clueless is a direct adaptation of Emma, like on purpose. It's not like, I know a lot of Australian schools, including mine, do comparison studies between Frankenstein and Blade Runner. It's not like that. That one is a coincidence. This one is on purpose. Okay, I saw Clueless when I was really, really little, and I had no idea that it was even related to Emma at all. And the first time I watched it, I hated it, but I think I was just too young to appreciate it. It's one of my favourite movies now, including Mean Girls, which this is a 2-pack of. Mean Girls is brilliant. Yeah. But the Book of Emma, it is the only Jane Austen I've read, but it is my least favourite. All of the others except Persuasion I've seen like movies for. I need to start reading them. But I've always had problems with Emma. Before I read it, I could not even sit down and watch an entire movie. I would get to the same spot, which I now forget what it was, but I would get to the same spot in every single adaptation I tried to watch, and I would just have to turn it off because Emma is infuriating. She annoys me so much, and I can't even remember why, but she just annoys me. And I had to read this for school, and I did read it, and I got all the way through, and by the end of it, I had warmed up to her a little bit more, and I can appreciate her character, but I still think she's annoying. And I can sit through like whole adaptations now. But yeah, this is a theme with all of these. I like the movie better because I have issues with the protagonist, and I don't have to know so much about the protagonist in the movies. But yeah, not so much a fan of this, huge fan of this. Clueless is actually a really good adaptation of it. Everything is the same. The only thing that is different is the corresponding character to Frank Churchill. I can't remember what he's called in this. In the book, he's not interested. In the movie, sorry, he's not interested in Cher because he's gay. In the book, he's not interested in Emma because he's having a secret affair with someone else. So that's the only big difference. Everything else is exactly the same except for certain, changes that had to have been made to modernize it. But other than that, it's exactly the same. So yeah, and I just find it more enjoyable. I think Cher is still a little bit infuriating, but being like a little rich girl from Beverly Hills is more understandable. In this, she's just kind of like meddling. I don't know. I think I need to read it again or watch it again because I remember when I read it and watched it, I did kind of like her, but now I don't remember why I liked her, and I'm just back to being annoyed by her. So, yeah. It's still worth the read though. If you like Jane Austen, go ahead and read this. Even if you just read it anyway. It just happens to be my least favorite, and yeah, I like Clueless a lot better. Alright, this is a brand new tag, so I'm not going to limit myself. I'm going to tag everyone that is watching this. If you want to do it, go ahead and do it. I'd be interested to see what movies you liked better than their books. Like I said before, it doesn't have to be a movie. It can be a TV show or, like I said, a radio play or a stage play, even one that you like put up at your school or something. Just tell us about the play and why you liked it better than the book. What was different? What made you like it? And yeah, but I'm not going to tag specific people because I want everyone to do this. And yeah, I hope you have fun with it. I certainly did. And I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.